Beyond bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises. It just had to be. Dax corner and it goes. Glance towards goal, and Rovers have taken the lead. And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season.
Hello, Rovers fans, and welcome to our live edition of the Instant Reaction as Rovers have got the job done, somehow winning 1-0 away at Cardiff City this afternoon and putting us all through the ring a little bit. All about job done and 3 points and all of that this afternoon as grit, fight, determination and courage shone through yet again as Rovers, yes, Rovers go joint top in the Championship. Who'd have thought that? That is reason to be happy. Because we're so buzzing, I've got three other guys here to just absolutely wax lyrical about this. Andy, Alex and Ollie. How you doing, Andy?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah,
happy?
It sounds like... Obviously, I think the other two lads have been like through the ringer. I think this is the benefit of experience.
I think this is where our age will show through, isn't it, Andy? So
it's only January. The thing is, we've been through promotion. Obviously, we all have with League One, but Championship promotion into the Premier League. I still remember, like it was yesterday, the Janssen Duff Dunn team of 2000, 2001. So, yeah, I know that January is very early to be getting too pent up, but yeah, I suppose it was one of those matches, and I'll let the other guys introduce themselves. But yeah, I can't wait to dig into how nervous everyone was feeling with that.
We'll dig into it, absolutely. Alex, I think you succumbed to some of the technological issues today, and I followed all of that. But how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I think obviously the feeling of winning at 12:30 on a Saturday is not something we're used to with not usually being on Sky Sports. That's going to change over the next few weeks, I think. But I suppose it sets up the weekend really well, watching how all the other clubs are going to do. Obviously, Bournemouth didn't get their job done today, which was big for us. And just a massive, massive win. I don't think my heart will survive until May, I'll be honest. That's the only thing I can say on it, other than the fact that I don't think the stream dropping in and out helped my heart rate to any great deal. So yeah, I'm still here just about to talk about the game, and I thought maybe interesting just to say this. It reminded me the most of the Brentford away game last season. That was the game that it reminded me of, but that's just my opinion.
No, we certainly dug in very similar to that. And we've got the rest of the day to calm down. Ollie, obviously, it's very late where you are. You're not going to be able to get to sleep. So how are you feeling?
Oh, just utterly elated. I said, obviously off air that I said that, absolutely just watching games, I'm always nervous unless we're 3-0 up or 3-0 down. I'm a less experienced head, to put it politely, but I think I'll be gaining a few more grey hairs if Rovers put me through the ringer like that for the rest of the season. But just a fighting, battling performance. And actually, Alex, it's weird you mention Brentford, because I remember after the Brentford away game last season, and that's the game that my mind was drawn to as well. I remember saying to myself in the room next door, after that game, we're going up. And of course it didn't happen. But what do I say now after this Cardiff game? We're going up. It just feels so much different. And it just feels unbelievable. The way we battled hard, even after the Nyambe red, we were absolutely getting peppered from pillar to post. But this Rovers side is just unbelievable. And to support a side like this, it's beyond words, really. I mean, like you say, Andy, I've not been alive for the Championship pushes. I get all the stories from my mum about Janssen and Hignett and all the like. But to be living through that now myself, halfway around the world, it's brilliant.
So we're going to get under the skin of this game. Rovers fans, let us know what you think in the comments, how you're feeling. Clearly, the four of us are very happy. Two of us have felt like we've gone through the ringer. Two of us are just sat here like fine wines, just going to simmer a little bit and stay calm and stay relaxed. We'll let everyone figure out who are the fine wines and who are the ones struggling. But if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button and please give this video a big like. Rovers are gone joint top, so you got to like this video. Else when are you going to like a video? So, Andy, let's get under the skin of the game then. Not a vintage Rovers performance, but in fact, we've said that a few times this season, actually. But this side does seem to find a way to win. Moment of magic from Joe Rothwell. And at times, very sloppy in the final third, I felt, and, you know, creating problems for ourselves and inviting that pressure on. But in the context of a season, it is just all about results, isn't it? If you're a side going for promotion, doesn't matter how you do it. What it says here is Cardiff 0, Blackburn 1, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, my overriding, I mean, the only tweet I wanted to put out was like one of those Siri ones. Siri, show me a game that is, you've got to win promotion. You know, that's the archetypal example of it. And, you know, we can criticize Rovers, and I will do for the performance today and the way that we looked after the ball, or didn't, should we say. But when you marry that with the defensive solidity, the shape, the aggression out of possession, the fact that we don't allow teams to have shots that are good. We've only conceded 3 big chances in the last 7 games, which has led to what, you know, obviously the fantastic clean sheet record. It's not by luck. You know, with having those 3 central defenders in front of Kaminsky, we just don't allow central shots in dangerous positions. And as much as, you know, Ali just said we were peppered. Yeah, we were peppered with balls into the box, and we were peppered with, you know, hopeful deliveries, but we weren't, you know, I can't remember a big chance that Cardiff had. It was a quick accumulation of a few worrying balls into the box, a couple of good saves from Kaminsky, but if we're being honest, not ones that we wouldn't expect him to make, knowing what he's like. And then when you marry that with individual quality of Joe Rothwell, and it's been other people at different points of the season, then this result can always happen. And that's why, you know, people say about promotion sides and championship sides doing championship winning sides doing well, is that they have those 2 things: forward players of individual quality and a defensive structure and solidity that means that they can, you know, have that platform to go and play on. So it's not by luck that this is happening, and we've managed to get a team together that can do the hard stuff and just touch it off with a little bit of icing of quality. So, you know, fair play to the management and the coaching, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex, Andy's touched on it there, you know, in moments of individual quality. Loads of talk about contracts at the moment, and I think everyone's gone in big on how special a player Joe Rothwell is at championship level. You know, the goal, from a Cardiff perspective, far too easy. You know, why are they giving a player like Joe Rothwell that space just to wander through midfield? But the finish, like that replay that they showed from behind Kaminsky's goal, he's bent that ball so far outside the post and then it's come in. Moment of magic. Rovers win the game 1-0. Just what a goal that was.
I think that's another reason I mentioned the Brentford away game, because it was Joe Rothwell that put us 1-0 up with an excellent finish, dancing through players and slotting it into the top corner. I know it was the other side of the goal today, but nonetheless, I think we've agreed between us, both privately and obviously on videos on the channel, that if you could really mention a player in the Rovers team at the moment who you'd say is irreplaceable in our system, you'd probably say it's Joe Rothwell. I think we don't really have any other player like him. We can't really see any other players like him in the league. Not that we'd be able to afford to buy, at least. And so it's one of those players that you just have to keep fit, and you have to keep in good form, and you have to keep them motivated to be in the squad, and you have to keep them motivated to stay in the team and keep creating chances, goals and assists. I think Rothwell's been criticised in the past, by me included, for not getting enough goals. Because we've always thought he was capable of doing that. He's always looks like he's got the ability to do it, but he's flourished this season. I think he's just gone to another level. Whether that's because he's playing for a contract somewhere else, or whether it's, you know, he wants a pay rise, I don't care, because it benefits Rovers in the short term, doesn't it? So it's all good from my point of view on that. I mean, I really find it bizarre how some people say, you know, should we sell Rothwell, bring some money in to kind of jiggle the squad around a little bit. And I just think for the money we'd get for him, with only 6 months left in his contract. I think the potential rewards from a financial point of view of a promotion, it just dwarfs anything we're likely to get for Rothwell in this window. And so even if he leaves in the summer for nothing, he has to stay. And we have to keep him in the team and try and keep doing that and influencing the game like he has been doing. So yeah, nothing but good words about Rothwell. And, for a player that is, out of contract, he doesn't play like it, does he? In terms of lack of effort or lack of application or anything like that. And I think the final thing I'd say is, I think today's game is a typical example of why managers talk about minimum standards with regards to performance. And those minimum standards are competitiveness, resilience, and dying to get 3 points. I know Warnock's famous for that viral video of you've got to die to get 3 points, but in this league you do. You have to put your bodies on the line and be desperate on occasions and just put your bodies on the line to keep a clean sheet. And we did that today and got the win. And so, we're all delighted about it. And I think what today does is it makes the Huddersfield draw a good point. The Huddersfield game was a must not lose from my estimation, with them being sixth or seventh. And I think what today does is it makes that Huddersfield game a continuation of the run rather than the end of a run. So I'll leave it there.
Yeah, definitely. It does make it a good point. Huddersfield were a good side. I thought they were impressive when they came to Ewood Park. So it absolutely is a good point. Definitely. Ollie, Alex has just spoken about the competitiveness and dying for 3 points. For me, absolutely no coincidence today that we've got the clean sheet and we've seen that type of defensive performance when Lenihan's back in the side, when Wharton's back in the side, when, until he obviously got sent off, Nyambe's back in the side. I've been saying it all season. It is critically important that Rovers have a settled defence this season if we are to make playoffs or indeed go up. So how impressed were you today with, the players coming back and just that whole defensive unit?
Look, I have been all season. And, if we can all have a joke and a laugh about how I came on here on air and I was just like, oh, look how, the two at the top are aging like a fine wine and I'm nervous in this bottom right-hand corner. But if we're going to be serious, I always felt, I know, the tide was turning, but I always felt a slight level of security. I always do with that back three centre-halves. Maybe we might mention the full-backs later on. I think if I had one player I could maybe pick out, it was maybe Teo Eden, who potentially looks suspect. I said that multiple times throughout the game. But that back three of Wharton, Lenihan, Van Heck, just everything that gets in their way, they head away. Lenihan, unbelievable, we know it. Wharton never puts in a 10 out of 10 performance, but never, ever looks out of place. Every single week, just is consistent, is brilliant, and he's one of our own as well. On a milestone appearance, you can't ask for much more than that. And Van Heck, how many times have we said it? You'd think he's come through the academy with all the passion he showed. It just shows that a settled defence with Kaminsky, being as he is behind them, he had a couple of good saves to make. The one from Nelson, I think it was, from the header, was potentially his biggest save he's ever made for the club. I know that's a massive call, but if we look back at that in May and we're up, that might be the one we look at because that was an unbelievable save. So despite the fact that I thought at one point we may not leave Cardiff with all 3 points due to the barrage, I just think the defence is unbelievable. And just a quick comment on Rothwell's goal. I think that is one of the most beautiful looking goals I think I've ever seen. From the angle that you spoke about, that ball at one point was about 2 or 3 feet outside of that post, and just to see it curl in was unbelievable. It's a massive result for the club, and we go to Hull midweek, and we've just got to keep it going for as long as we can. I think the Fulham game, if it hasn't kicked off already, is just kicking off as we speak. So there's then pressure on them to get the job done now. I don't know if they'll know of this result, but it's just unbelievable seeing how solid we are and how that gravitates not only through the rest of the team, but also to a point through the rest of the league as well.
Sorry, Ryan. It just makes me laugh that we're already. This is so like we can tell we've not been involved in anything that means anything for a while. It's January. There's how many 20 games left of the season, 22 games left or something like that, and already we're like, oh, the pressure's on Fulham. It bloody well isn't. Like there's 66 points to play for yet.
Well, you're turning into Alex here, Andy. Alex is in the bottom left, not the top right. But
no, it's great. It's great that we're in position. I'm just saying,
there is there is pressure on there. There is a little bit, I reckon, because if you look at that,
not
if you
anymore
look
than
at
there
the,
usually is.
well, you look at it and you go. I was saying this before. If you look at it and you go, obviously there's a lot of points to play for. Agreed. Am I getting ahead of myself? Yes, but I potentially have a right to be, knowing that this is the first time that we've been in such a race in a while. But if you look at it and you go, I said now I get more nervous for games now that we're in this position because there is pressure on us to go and perform.
Yes, that's all
Yes,
about, isn't
it is, but there is more pressure on us to go and win games because if we slip up, we can escalate down the league, tumble down the league rather, I should say. And the same pressure's on Fulham. Whether it's more or less or the same pressure as usual, there is still pressure for Fulham to get the job done, and it is there. So it's on them. If Bristol City can get a result, there's a slight boost. It's not going to be the make or break of the season, you wouldn't think, but it's still nice to talk about. And I'm gonna stand on this hill and die on it. I'm gonna stand on this hill and die on it.
Oh dear. Just a few things in what you've said, Ollie. I mean, when Rovers have been sniffing around the playoffs before, the seasons when we've come like 8th or 9th, the one thing I always remember is the teams in the top 6 just kept on winning and we could just never get close. So for Rovers, just keep winning and see how it pans out and see where we are at the end of the season. But I ain't going to blame you and Alex for getting nervous or you for getting excited, Ollie. It's the first time we're going through this, so we'll let you off. In terms of the defence, I mean, there's some impressive stats following our defence now. What is it? 8 clean sheets in the last 10 games. Wharton's never lost a game for Rovers. Lenihan's win record when he's in the side. There's just impressive stats following this defence around at the moment. And if you want an epitome of the defence in this game, that header from Van Hecker from Joe Rawls' volley, that's point blank and he's putting his head in the way. And that just sums up the whole defensive performance for me. It was just absolutely fantastic. And that is going to see us far when we're defending like that. And yeah, it's not been vintage Rovers for the last 3 games. We toiled a little bit against Barnsley at home and it was only 2-1. Huddersfield have come and got a very well-deserved point. And today it wasn't vintage Rovers. But hey, 7 points out of those games when we're quote-unquote not playing at our best. It's all about the points. It's all about the results. Andy, I just want to talk to you about the attacking performance today. I thought we were very poor in the final third today. I thought in the first half, I don't think the ball was necessarily sticking with Brereton or Khadra very much, and it was just allowing Cardiff to build from the back. And then what we saw, particularly in the second half, that final pass or the final ball, I thought was pretty dreadful in that second half, actually. There were passes where we could play people through or chances to build attacks, and it just wasn't happening. If we are to make the playoffs and carry on this run and whatever, with the greatest respect to Cardiff, we can't be giving the ball away like we have in the final third and allowing teams to just keep building. It's got to be better in the attacking third, hasn't it, going forward?
I think you're almost giving us too much credit to say the final ball and the attacking third. We barely got into the attacking third to have a final ball. We was breaking down far too early, far too quickly. Someone mentioned, I think in the comments, that there was we were trying to play too quickly, and that is what Mowbray clearly wants to do with this squad. Is that and we were 1-0 up obviously for a long time. That we want to spring quickly and use our pace and use Khadra's running power and Brereton's running power as well. And I get that, and that's a good tactic. But there was very few options for our midfielders or defenders to play a quality ball. Like I say, they weren't holding it. Khadra was probably trying to do too much when he did have it and got caught out a few times. But we didn't really build attacks, and once there was no initial option, people should have just been holding it and building something a little bit steadier. I don't know if anybody saw. I put a thread out this week about analysing Rovers' season so far, and obviously it's been very good. But one thing that did come out to me in terms of something we need to watch out for, and this is kind of the epitome of your question, is we're actually creating fewer chances now than we were at the start of the season. And obviously that's kind of offset by the fact that we're conceding very few chances. Like, it's ridiculous how few chances we're conceding. Today, not one of their shots was above 0.14 xG, which is a 1 in 8 chance of scoring. Now, I mean, our goal was 0.03, so that's a 1 in 33 chance of scoring. So, but obviously, it's just statistics. It doesn't necessarily mean that much. But what it does mean is that we're not conceding chances, but we're also not creating that many either. And I think you're right. I think if we are going to end up kind of forcing our way into the automatics, or if we're going to be a serious force in the playoffs, then we need to up that attacking quality. And do you do that at the behest of your defensive stability, though? Because that's what's winning us games at the moment.
And for me, I'd be favouring the defensive stability first and foremost at the moment. So maybe we're just going to have to get used to it as Rovers fans. But, we can't just be relying on Joe Rothwell to be pulling rabbits out of the hats every time. It's got to be better in the attacking third today, and you've got to say that Diaz, Buckley, Kadra, they've not really been at the races in an attacking third today. And Gallagher tried hard when he came on as well, but not the best attacking performance.
I think Gallagher should be, I think he's in due a start now. I think having more of a physical presence upfield, if we're going to be a little bit more direct, then I think maybe his physical presence might help us to hold the ball up at least a bit more. And he can run the channels as well. He's not just a target man. So
definitely.
That's my opinion.
Alex, I just want to just break off and talk about Ryan Nyambe and just your views on it. So I thought Perry and G's done a number on him today, actually. Nyambe's first booking was for Nyambe's reaction to the tackle by Ng on Darragh Lenihan, which was naughty. It was a very naughty tackle on Lenihan. And then Nyambe, it's a bit stupid going in like that and giving Ng the opportunity to make the most of it in the way that he has. I don't want to overreact and sit here. I saw a few comments on the watch along and stuff like that, maybe giving Nyambe a bit of grief and good riddance and, it's clear he don't want to play for us. That wasn't that from Nyambe today, was it? Nyambe had a pretty decent game. He contributed to that defensive unit like anyone else. And I think Ng's just done that number on him, hasn't he?
I think the one comment I would make on Nyambe is it's just stupid. I don't think it's anything more malicious than that. And we all make mistakes. Footballers make mistakes. It leads to goals. It leads to, things going wrong within games. And that's why you get penalties, red cards, and, everything in between. Most goals are caused by mistakes from somebody somewhere along the line. So, it's something that you're wary of going forward in terms of if we have a really key game, leading up to the end of this season, and we require 11 players on the pitch, we really can't be doing with giving teams a leg up by going down to 10 men. I think the biggest disappointment for me was he didn't read the game in the sense of the ref was giving yellow cards out left, right, and centre, and it was quite clear that he was frothing at the mouth to send somebody off. I mean, that was clear from the first half. Really, he got the yellow out at every opportunity, and so to side him down at that moment in the game where the tackle occurred on the pitch without any real threat on our goal, that was the big disappointment for me. And I think he'd have been blamed in a sense if we hadn't have taken the 3 points, which is maybe unfair, you might say, but that's the way football goes. I think you have to be consistent though, and if you look back at the League One season, and I think it was Lewis Travis who was subbed on against Portsmouth, we were 2-1 up, and he just had a horrendous tackle and got sent off in injury time. Rovers obviously hung on for the win, but Mowbray didn't include him in the team for months due to that and that lack of trust. So maybe it's just a bit of a kick up the backside for Ryan in terms of we've just brought a new right back into the club yesterday, and he needs to be wary about keeping his place in the team. Although I'd be a hypocrite if I said I didn't think he should play, because I think this season, certainly defensively, he's been outstanding, and he's been a rock for a couple of years now. Really, he gets better and better. So a real disappointment today with the way he was sent off and the circumstances surrounding it. But I'm not going to cast any aspersions about him not wanting to play for the club or anything ridiculous like that. I mean, comments like that are just ridiculous, and they're not founded in any evidence or of what you see on the pitch. So. We'll leave those comments where they should be,
Definitely. And Ollie, looking at the whole game now, it does present a little, a little dilemma for Tony Mowbray in terms of what he does. Nyambe's going to have a 1-game suspension. So Joe Rankin-Costello was on the bench today. John Buckley can fill in at right wing back if needs be, or you could play, say, Fuchs. So what are you doing on Wednesday night if you're Tony Mowbray? Who are you playing at right wing back?
You always with the questions, Ryan. My days, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't mind John Buckley at right back, but I think you're robbing Peter to pay Paul in a sense if you're putting John Buckley at right back because you're taking him out of that midfield. And I'm glad he didn't come off today. I know we were talking before about players that we could take off or bring on or whatever. Buckley always looks solid in that midfield, even if he's not had a great game, which to be fair today he didn't. But he just doesn't quite seem right to me to put him at right back, so I'm going to rule him out. Joe Rankin Costello, it's going to be a cutthroat game on, in midweek against Hull. Do you throw him straight back in for a full 90 or at least a start in a championship game that's going to mean a lot? I'm not sure. If Zay Fyke's ready, I think you play him. He looks at could be a bit underdone. It looks like he's not played too much football for Hertha Berlin, but he's playing at a good level. Probably standard-wise a higher level than the Championship anyway, even though the Championship's a very competitive league. You're looking at the Bundesliga and you're going, that's a top league to be coming out of. Is he underdone? Maybe, but our other options are all underdone or better in a better position. So I'm playing Zay Fyke if he's ready to go. If he's not, I would probably go Buckley because I think at the moment, JRC, I'm not sure he's ready for a full 90 minutes. You maybe bring him on at right back, but I'd just bite the bullet, put Buckley to right back, and who you put in centre mid if it's a Bradley Johnson to be a bit more combative. It's a real quandary, isn't it? I was just thinking before. Obviously, there's been links with Nyambe away from the club, Leeds, Southampton. Could you imagine if that's Ryan Nyambe's, just hypothetically, if that's Ryan Nyambe's last act in a Rovers shirt? Could you imagine that after all he's done for the club, after however many years through the academy, after endearing himself to the Rovers fans, 200 plus appearances, one of our own. Could you imagine if that's the way he goes out? And to the fans that have been brandishing those comments, everyone's entitled to opinion, of course they are, but opinions are never meant to be wrong, but somehow some of these are, because there is no way that Ryan Nyambe has purposely got himself sent off there. Is it a stupid challenge? Was the first yellow card stupid? Yes. Second yellow card, potentially even more so. Does he want to play for the club? Does he want to leave everything out there on that pitch for the football club that he loves so much? Of course he does. So to those people that say that Ryan Nyambe is not committed, you can have your opinion. I'm glad you're a fan of Blackburn Rovers Football Club, but just for a minute, give your head a wobble. Give your head a wobble.
Oh, I love it, Ollie. And just for the record, I'd be playing Zay Fyke as well. And the reason I say that, you look at the two fixtures after Hull, it's Middlesbrough at home and then Luton away, which are arguably two very tough games. So if you're not doing it away at Hull, yeah, so when are you doing it? So for me, I'd be doing it as well. I would not be robbing John Buckley from midfield. He has got to stay in that midfield area. So for me, it's Zay Fyke or JRC. JRC might be fit. He might well go that way. But, I'm just looking at the two games after Hull. And if you're not doing it there, then you never are. Just want to dip into the super chat. Thank you, Daniel, for the support there. Great win, lads. Love the live match previews. Thanks, Daniel. And thank you for the super chat there. Andy, another component of a side which might get promotion or make playoffs is being able to rely on substitutes and good substitutes at that. You and I are a little bit older than these two below us, so we've seen some dreadful substitutions for Rovers over the years and players who have been in our squad that, boy, oh boy, why are they in our squad? What a bench to be able to rely on that when you've gone down to 10 men, you can bring on Daniel Ayala, shift Darrell Lenihan out to right wing back and shut that problem down. That you can bring on Bradley Johnson just for a bit of calmness, a bit of, come on, lads, let's get over the line. You can bring on Sam Gallagher to hold the ball up, make things happen up there. This is another important element for us, isn't it? That when Rovers aren't vintage, when we're not at our best, and when we might need to see a game out, what a bench to be able to rely on. So what did you make of the three subs and things today?
Yeah, you can't argue with any of that, really. And the credit has to go to the recruitment team and all the decisions that are made kind of months ahead of time and planning this squad out. We were all waxing lyrical about Daniel Ayala for the first period of the season before he got that little niggle. And, like you said, to be able to bring him on when, Cardiff were throwing balls into the box, and then you've got 4, let's be real, like top centre backs, aerially dominant centre backs to be in that area, and then to be able to bring on Bradley Johnson as well to add another one who's very capable in the air, and Sam Gallagher. All of a sudden, we're matching up a very physical Cardiff side with height, and that's fantastic to be able to. It's funny because obviously we didn't want the sending off, and it was a blow, but it didn't change the pattern of the match at all. Did you really notice that we were down to 10 men? We were still playing the same way. Really, we were just not ridiculously deep because they still had the pressure pushing on to them, which didn't allow them to get quality into the box. And this is the good thing when you've not got quality into the box, it just allow those defenders, and Daniel Ayala is probably still one of the best in the Championship at it, to attack the ball. And there was one that when they pushed Aidan Flint up front right at the death, and they got a quality ball in once right at the death from the right, really in the corner, and it flashed into our box, and Flint was almost there, but Daniel Ayala was there to head it out, and that's what he was brought on for. And the talking, the leadership that he would have shown, obviously we could hear a little bit more because there was no fans. And I think I'm gonna have to go after this comment, but that's the final thing I wanted to say about this, is that it's horrible that there was no fans there. Except for it worked out for Blackburn Rovers today, in a situation where fans would have been there, 20-odd thousand Welshmen screaming at Cardiff to get forward, to give them that extra 5-10%, especially with the referee throwing his cards around. Like, imagine the atmosphere. They're pushing, but it just all felt a little bit, on the surface. From Cardiff, and they're lacking a little bit of confidence and direction, and trying to find out who they are under Steve Morrison, and all of that kind of combined has worked in our favour today. And I don't want to see football behind closed doors, but it's helped us out today, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to depart. So I'll just ask you, Andy, what I'm going to be asking Alex and Ollie next. So in terms of the outlook for the next month or so, in terms of a points total that you want in from Rovers over the next few games, what's the rate of points that we need to be getting now? Are you dreaming of automatics, or are you still just thinking top 6 first and foremost?
I think top 6 is nailed on. I think we're going to finish in the top 6, especially after getting the 3 points today. We were already like 2-5 with the bookies to get there, which is, over a 75% chance now. I did a little study with my mate Peter Lerman, a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and he found out for me that 1 in 13 clubs had the same number of points as we had just before this game, and only 1 out of the 13 had dropped out of the playoff picture. 6 of them have gone on to win automatic promotion. So, I'm looking at it as, it's going to take a lot to drop us out of the bottom 6 now. So, I will trot out the old cliche of take one game as it goes. And, the longer that we, let's give Ollie some credit. The more that we put pressure on Fulham, and the more that we put pressure on Bournemouth and West Brom, nobody expected this from us. And let's carry on with the confidence. If we keep I just don't see us getting beat very much. The defensive solidity means that we will not concede, more than 1 a game probably very often. So when you've got that, you're going to pick up enough points to be in and around there, and it's going to make us very difficult to be in the playoffs as well. So I guess I think we'll finish top 6. I think we might finish 4th. If I'm being honest, I still worry about that attacking capability. But who wouldn't have taken 4th at the start of the season?
Well, absolutely. And the attacking stuff is the thing that I think's just come into the spotlight for me today. Just, just how sloppy we were in that.
I suppose we have to wait until reinforcements as well. Like, there's been a lot of talk that we're going to get another forward in. There's talk of this Markande coming, which I think, I've been digging into his data. I've put a couple of tweets out today. He looks like a very good prospect, definitely above average for his age group. And he's been playing in the elite, underage competitions, and he seems hungry to play. So hopefully, if that deal comes off, I've heard a lot of good things about him, and and then another forward coming in as well, potentially from Europe. The recruitment team are doing their jobs, and if they find some gems, then with that forward capability can improve as a result of recruitment. So all positive really from me.
Absolutely. And the man Bradley Dack as well to throw into that.
Yeah, exactly. And Dack is back 24th. I think he's scheduled to play for the 23s. So February he'll be back in the mix as well.
Absolutely.
Exciting times.
It is.
Exciting,
It
Ollie.
is.
See,
Can I just say
this fine wine is getting fizzy.
about pressure on Fulham? I've got the Championship results loaded up on my phone at the moment, and a goal's gone in at Craven Cottage, and it's gone to Bristol City. Look at the pressure on Fulham. They're already cracking.
They're already cracking under the pressure.
They're already cracking, Andy.
See you later, guys.
Have a good one, mate. Take care.
See you now.
So, Alex, Ollie, we'll just finish with. Let's see if I can get this in a different way. There we go. That looks a bit better. That looks a bit better. Alex, Ollie, we'll just finish off. Just looking forward a little bit then. So, Alex, Wednesday night is a chance. You know, Ollie's been talking about pressure. Wednesday night is a chance for us to put pressure on because it's our rearranged game, albeit it'll mean that we've played one more than Bournemouth, but Bournemouth aren't playing in the midweek, so we can go to Hull and put some more pressure on Bournemouth. And as I said earlier, I vividly remember the previous campaigns where we felt close, that it just felt like the teams in and around us just kept winning and we couldn't get close. So Wednesday night, is it a must-win? Is it a must-win, or is it a game that, you know, if we are thinking about automatics, it's a game that, right, this is a pressure point. This is a key point to put some good pressure on Bournemouth because they would end up 3 points behind us. So what's your thoughts on Wednesday's game?
Being honest, I don't think there's any must-win games with 20 games left. That's just my opinion. I think you've got enough time to react to different circumstances within the season. There's enough time to either finish first to finish 10th with 20 games to go, that you can have all manner of circumstances. But what I would say about the whole game is if you can't motivate yourself for that whole game after what happened on Boxing Day, then you will never be motivated again. The way that circumstance was handled and all that thing was handled, it should spur Rovers on to get the job done, I think. I'm more looking at the remainder of the season of number of away wins and number of home wins we'll need to get in the top 6. And if you look historically, you probably need 7, 8 or 9 away wins. That was our 5th away win today. So we need 2 or 3 more before the end of the season. And home wins probably 13 or 14, and I think we're on 9 at the moment. So we need 4 or 5 more home wins. And if you look at it in those terms, it allows you to maybe take a more broader view of the season rather than get maybe caught up in the next game all the time in terms of the next game being a cup final. Rovers have got themselves into a great position. We are not under any pressure to go up in the top 2. All of the pressure is on the clubs that have outspent us at every step of the way, that have got wage budgets that are double, triple, quadruple ours, and it'll be a big embarrassment for them if they don't go up, and we do. So all of the pressure's on them, and we should relish going into each game trying to win, not being devastated if we don't win, and going again the next week. And I know that's a real cliche and everyone keeps saying it, but it rings true. The clubs that focus on not getting too high or too low with either a win or a loss are the teams that end the season in good positions. And I think we've criticised Mowbray before for maybe not being able to get us out of a bad run of form, but I think the one season under Mowbray where we haven't gone on a bad run of form was in the League One season, and I think he managed that promotion mentality very well. He never got carried away. He never got too down when we lost the game. It was very level-headed through the whole course of that season, and I think that played a big part in us finishing where we were in the end. So, yeah, like you say, Hull is not a must-win game. It would be brilliant if we did win it because it makes it even more likely that we're going to finish in the top 6. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm really not looking at the top 2. The top 2 is really not our fight at the moment. I still think, win as many games as you can, and if we're still around this position in March, then maybe thinking about it. But at the moment, just try and get as many points on the board as you can. Try and get that top 6 spot secured as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Let us know. And I'm going to give Ollie the final word in a moment. So Rovers fans, just in the comments, let us know what you're feeling about the outlook for the next few games. Are you dreaming of top 2, or are you still like Alex, like Andy, like myself, maybe like Ollie as well, just looking at the top 6? So let us know what you think in the comments. I'll run through those before we finish. So Ollie, just a couple of things then, just on the whole game. There's 2 things that I'm thinking about. One is the potential pressure to put on Bournemouth with them not playing if we win that game. And then if we look at our next fixtures coming up, it is a little tough set of fixtures that we've got coming. So after Hull, Middlesbrough at home, Luton away that have just beaten Bournemouth. And, you know, it is always a tough place to go. Swansea away, where maybe we're fancying ourselves with, you know, the way that they play versus how we play, I would fancy us there. But then it is Forest at home, West Brom away, and Sheffield United away also, and QPR at home in February. So there's a little tough set of fixtures coming up. So does the Hull game feel like one that Rovers should be winning, need to be winning if we are thinking about the top two? You know, what's your thoughts on the game and how you're thinking about it?
There's a lot of ways to put this, because when you say the words must win, there's a lot of ways you can view the term must win. You can view it in terms of if it's a 6-pointer, it's a must win. You can view it in terms of if we're going up for the top two. I think this game, after analysing after you asked the question to Alex, I think this is a must win. Just because of the run that we've got coming up. You've got to bank the points against the teams that you should be beating. Because if we don't beat Hull, I should say, we've got that tough run. And then again, you know, if we can't beat a team like Hull, and no disrespect to Hull are a tough side, tough place to go, but Hull are a team that we should be beating on our current run of form. If we can't beat Hull, it then puts more pressure on us to go ahead and beat Middlesbrough and beat Luton, which we would have on us anyway. But I just think on that sort of front, if you go into those tough games with a win, it just helps things more. In terms of the season, if you took that out of it, it's not a must win because there's so much time to go. But I just think it's a huge game that if we can win it, we might be able to hit that hard run with so much, with a bit more momentum. In terms of top 6 or top 2, I'm optimistic. As a person in life, I try and be optimistic. Am I looking at the top 2? I'm not going to lie to you. Of course, I'm looking at the top 2. Would I be happy finishing in the top 6? Absolutely, I would. Would I take top 6? I mean, if there's any Rovers fans that wouldn't, then honestly, I don't know. But top 2, of course, I'm looking at it because we're in and around it. But I'd take top 6 at the moment. If you look at the table, we're 9 clear of Middlesbrough, who are in 7th, and with 18 games to go, same amount of games played. There's still a long way to go in the season, but that's a good position to be in. 9 points clear of 7th. Andy said that top 6 was nailed on. I tend to side with him. But of course, even if we don't make the top 2, what's the harm at looking at it? What's the harm? Because as Rovers fans, we've been nowhere near this. If we're on a run, we can be whimsical. I reckon we can be whimsical, have a bit of fun, get carried away. What's the harm in it? If we don't make the top 2, we make the top 6, we got to run at playoffs. If we make the top 2, then there'll be parties out in Pop World and clubs across Blackburn and maybe around the world. I'll be 18 by that point, so who knows what will happen. I might have to get a few Melburnians involved on the Rovers promotion bandwagon, but there's no harm in it, I don't think. So bring it on. This team it's a special one to follow. We've had a joke about how inexperienced I am and how I'm a bit whimsical and a bit all over the place at the moment. But I've seen players. I've seen your Sambas with the passion for the club. I've seen those players. I've seen those teams with Sambas and Duns and Pedersens. This is the most fun team to follow. More than the League One side, as good as that was when we won every week and I was waking up buzzing that we'd won again. This team is unbelievable. Every single player in that squad, not just in the team, in the squad, just have something about them, something special. And to be on the journey with them as fans is unbelievable. So bring it on. Bring on Hull away midweek. Let's keep this good run going and let's see where it takes us.
That is the perfect way to end this stream. Absolutely, Ollie. I'm totally with you on that. They're such an easy team to support at the moment. They are a special group of players, and results like this, these are results that define a season. We've not been at our best today. We've had to dig in. We've gone down to 10 men, and we've got the job done. So absolutely, let's go to Hull and get the job done. That's it for the instant reaction. We've shared our thoughts. We're absolutely buzzing with the victory for Rovers today. It was nervy at times, especially when the stream at the end decided to start wobbling and we all didn't know what was going on. But do you know what? All the Rovers players, like the Rovers fans contending with the Rovers TV technology today, we've all dug in, we've all stuck in at the end. and we've got the job done. And it's an away win. Alex mentioned the away wins earlier. Important to get the away win. We move on to Hull. Let's go and get the job done there. So let us know what you think in the comments. How you're feeling about Rovers, how you're feeling about this result. Feels like a really important one for me, and a type of result that I enjoy actually more than the 5-0s, the 5-1s, the 4-0s, whatever. I enjoy these types of results because it just makes you proud as a fan that we've dug in like that. So that's it. That's all the content done for today. We've had a great fun on the watch along. Great to do the instant reaction with you two and Andy as well. So we can go and enjoy the rest of our Saturdays. Or if you're Ollie Walker-Peel, you can stay up all night and be absolutely buzzing that Rovers are going to make the top 2. So there we go. Thank you to our sponsors, 6yardsout.com and Blue Rose Capital. Thank you, everyone, for your support. Please subscribe to our channel. Please give this video a big like. And the Rovers going up, don't you know? Pump it up. Come on!
Let's go.
Let's enjoy the rest of our day. See you later, everyone.
See you, everyone.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.